Welcome everybody to Mom Street USA. My name is Kate, aka Disney Cicerone, and today I have a very special guest. Her name is Tour Guide Barbi, or Barbie, and she is
They
what
were
I would like to call a specialist in Genie Plus, among many other things. So we get to have this lovely conversation because Jacque is at Disney World. So we're mixing it up, and there's been a lot going on with Genie Plus too. So it'll be interesting to have a conversation about that. So, to Barbie, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, why you are a creator, all those kinds of things?
Oh wow. I my life is insane. So I'm a
I love that.
mom. Oh, hey Travis. Why thank you. He liked my shirt. I'm a mom. I'm a dog mom. My husband and I are musicians. We have a No Doubt tribute band. We've got a Blondie tribute band. We have some other bands that we do, like lots of different things. Creatively, I'm in a burlesque troupe here in town, actually performing Saturday for Pride.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, and then my job, why I don't want to know so much about Genie Plus, trust me. It's just that my job is I work as a travel agent, and part of what I do is I do private tours for people in the parks, and I actually operate the Genie Plus for them. So I've dealt with so many different scenarios and logistics and
Goodness.
groups and variables, and yeah.
Wow. Abby says she's a busy lady. I agree. You are a very busy lady.
Yeah,
Do you
yep.
like sleep or eat or anything like occasionally?
Occasionally, this is pretty much my dinner, and it's just water in here, everyone. Nothing fun, but yeah, because again, the rehearsal was going on, and I was like, we got children to feed, and come on, because we also, I just recently let my husband take down our dining room table. I don't have one at all anymore,
Whoa.
and there's now a drum set.
Well, pretty much the same thing.
So yeah, because both my children now are, teenagers, and they're now in band, and my son's really into drums. My daughter was actually chosen to do drums. So
Wow.
yeah,
Musical
so
family. All of you
very,
guys.
yep,
I love that.
absolutely. Yeah.
And
So it's a
how
loud
old
family.
how old are your kids now? If you feel comfortable saying that, you don't have to
uh,
share if you don't.
15 and 13.
15 and 13. So you're in that
Mm-hmm.
teenage stage of motherhood. So Jacque and I always
Mm-hmm.
kind of laugh because I'm kind of in the like tween stage as mine are 7 and 10 and 12. So I'm kind of like transitioning into the teenage stage, and hers are still pretty on the young side. So it's like we got kind of like different perspectives.
Very different.
So, well, I also love your singing, by the way. Like huge fan of your No Doubt like covers. Like I just,
Ah,
especially when I got to meet you the first time and you were like singing it in the parks, which you were so embarrassed about, but I loved, and it was it was so great.
I forgot that happened.
Yeah, it was fun, and I'm like a huge No Doubt fan anyway, so I was like, this is so great. Like she looks so much like her. So anyway, fangirling over here about Barbie. So, so before we get into Genie Plus, because as much as we all love Genie Plus, let's talk about a few fun things first.
Okay.
Do you want to tell us one of your favorite Disney parks memories with your kids or your family?
Um, with my kids, it's difficult to choose just one because
Yeah,
since we live here, they've been going since they were literally just months old. And like I
oh,
said, my son is now 15,
it's a
almost
lot of
16,
memories.
almost 16. uh, so yeah, there's a lot there, but most recently was when we got to do Cosmic Rewind. My son, like Big Thunder Mountain, is his peak. No pun intended. Like that's as crazy as he'll go. He doesn't even like Mine Train because he doesn't like the drop because that one actually has a
Oh,
drop.
yeah.
So, but he loves Guardians of the Galaxy, and I know that he like would love all the songs in there. And I was like, son, you can do this. I know you can. Like you, and so he did it. And of course, my daughter, she's a total adrenaline junkie, and so the three of us got to do it together. And we got Iran
Oh,
and he was
fun.
so excited about the song, and it was just so cool for us to be together. And so that was pretty awesome. And then
I love that.
also a couple months ago, we got to go watch Harmonious, and like Jonathan and my husband and my son both had the like cameras out like on tripods to do like slow shutter exposure
Oh,
pictures of the
fun.
fireworks. And my daughter and I got to do like our own thing, and it was just a really, really good family night. And so most
Oh,
recently those two.
I love that. I love that so much. I also love like
Thank you.
when your kids kind of conquer that fear of something and you get to kind of watch it in real
Mm-hmm.
time and they realize like, oh, I can do more than I thought I was capable of. Like, what an awesome moment to get to experience.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah,
great.
I was so proud of him. And yes, Travis, he is getting very much into photography. So he's basically becoming a little Jonathan clone, but not little. My son's 6'1". He's a monster. Yeah. So he's taking photography in school, actually, and
Oh.
yeah, he's all about it.
So you're doing a lot of parks
So
photography or other things too? I see portraits, landscapes.
he'll whatever. He for a while we found that he was doing a series of photos of cups
Oh, that's creative.
just on his iPhone, and that's kind of like what Jonathan was
Interesting.
like. All right, I think you're really into this, and so he started. We got him like a real camera last Christmas, I think, and then lenses and all the stuff. Now they talk about, and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. So
You're like, it,
you go.
yes, it takes pictures. Well,
Uh
and
huh.
yeah, that's, I feel like once you've gotten to the place where you're in cup level of photography, you're definitely ready to step it up.
Oh, totally.
It's like, oh gosh, that's so great. What is maybe one of your favorite rides to go on with your kids? Maybe that's
Uh,
changed through time, I'm guessing, as they've aged.
right. I mean, well, now it's that one, Cosmic Rewind. Used to love going on Haunted Mansion with them a lot, and Pirates, and then Soren was always a
Yeah.
big one for us.
I feel like Soren is a winner for everybody. Like it's just a,
How can it
unless you're
not
afraid
be?
of heights. If you're afraid of heights, maybe not, but everyone else, yeah, it's fair.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Is there any particular reason those are your favorites, or just like just favorite rides?
Uh, just Haunted Mansion Pirates are so classic. Of course, we don't have pirates as awesome as everywhere else in the world, but
Right.
but it's just such a classic ride. And Haunted Mansion's just always been my own personal favorite. But then Soarin', I don't know, it's just one we just all like get so excited to go on. It's like one of the bigger rides that we all like to do, and
I love
um,
that.
yeah.
That's have you ever done the, well, you would have then done Soarin' over California when it came to Disney
Mhm.
World at least, right? I always
I
love
did
the
Soarin'
orange
over
groves.
California in California.
Oh yeah, I didn't know if you'd made it to
Mhm.
Disneyland. It's
Yes, I've
not
been out
everybody
there
has.
a few times. Hi, Allie Beth.
Okay, so just a couple more questions, then we'll get to Genie Plus, I promise, because we got lots of questions, I'm sure, about that. So, what is your favorite place to dine with your kids in the Disney parks? Or you can do Universal, like, whatever, wherever you go.
Uh, God, that's a tough one. Because with four people, it's expensive.
It is, yeah.
It's it's a lot of money.
Maybe do
So
like one budget friendly and one like if you had budget wasn't an issue. Maybe do
budget friendly. Most recently, I really do like Creations Cafe.
yeah.
I love, and we're all burger people, so that one for sure. And then like more expensive, like we recently, the kids and I went to Mama Melrose, and they really, really liked that a lot. My husband
Hmm,
hasn't been there, but now that's one I think I'm going to have to go back to with them regularly. I hadn't been there in a
interesting.
long time.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't either because I feel like the food was not great for a long time. Maybe it's gotten better.
Hmm.
Yeah, it
It
must have
was
been.
fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
we went. Uh, it was like I don't know, maybe like a month and a half ago, and I was like, oh, okay, all right,
Wow.
this is good. Yeah, and the kids
Noted.
like they loved it, and the Italian's always big with them. It always wins them over.
I feel it.
Oh, actually, no, I'm so sorry, I totally blanked. Satuli Canteen,
Oh,
Animal Kingdom. That's the budget friendly one. We love
yeah.
those cheeseburger pods.
Oh man, that place is great. And you can get so many modifiers. Anybody can get really what they want, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
That's so
Yeah,
great.
when that's the well, like Animal Kingdom's the one park where if I have clients that I can't get dining for, that's the one park where I'm like, it's okay. So Thule Canteen's there; they're going to be fine for eating. You know, other parks,
Yeah.
Hollywood Studios, I don't like going there for my clients without a dining reservation. They don't choose to use
Yeah.
it, fine. But just knowing the counter service options there aren't the greatest. Docking Bay is really good, but the seating's not great.
No, it's hard to get a seat there. And
It's
their dessert was weird when I went there this last time. Like if I had, it's funny because I went to Disneyland and Disney World kind of back to back in like within a month, and the one at Disneyland in Docking Bay 7 was this like amazing like mousse trio, and so I thought that's what I was getting, and it wasn't that. It was like this very strange, very rubbery like puff pastry that looked kind of like garbage.
oh
And it
oh
was like,
no.
it was filled with kind of like a mousse, but then it had like chocolate frosting dabbed on a plate. It just looked bad, and then it did not taste great. And I was so disappointed. I was like, what's happening here? Like, what is happening? So, but some of the stuff at Docking Bay 7 is really good. But I feel like their portions are really small too. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I haven't had too many. I had breakfast there once. That was pretty good. And then I really like the chicken salad they have there. It feels like a good. It doesn't feel like theme park food,
Yeah.
but anything else, it's just kind of. I don't know. Like they're trying to make space food and
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
who
I'm
knows
with
what
you on
space
that.
food is?
They're just making it up as they go along, I think. um, Okay, so as our last question before we get into Genie Plus, what since you are also a travel agent, right? Correct.
Yes.
What is a travel hack or two or three that you always recommend for families when they go to the Disney parks?
Oh my God. Number one, first and foremost, and I cannot stress this enough, screenshot everything.
Mm,
Everything. Oh,
that's
thank
good.
you. Like, and I mean your dining reservations, your confirmations for your tickets, your park reservations, everything. Just screenshot them all, put them in a folder, especially so you can gain entrance into the park. Because if your phone, like the signal goes down, and or you can't access something quickly, you have it right there, right? You know, to get to fast. And that's my biggest one. And that's probably the one people take advantage of the least
Wow, that's
until
good
they need
advice.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And
great
then as soon as they
advice.
need it, then they're like, oh man, oh, hi. Jonathan is here for TikTok, everyone. He just let me know. That's my husband. So he is here for TikTok.
All
Perfect.
right,
Yeah.
good to be
So that
supportive, Jonathan. Welcome.
yes. So that's number one. Number two, remember you are in Florida. So get the foldiest, smallest raincoat, poncho, or something that you can. And just make sure whatever you're carrying can fit it in there because you will not have warning.
Yeah,
And it
that's
will
so true.
rain,
Yeah,
but then it will stop just as quickly.
yeah.
So yeah, so that's also for Florida specifically. Like definitely do that. And then also just man, especially for Disney, just do your research. Like learn about the restaurants, learn what rides are. Like unless you have someone helping you, which happy to do it. But if you don't, if you're trying it on your own, like find out about what's there because it's so easy to miss things.
Hmm.
You know,
Absolutely.
you can go like Jonathan and I were at Horror Nights 2 nights ago, and we never went past like down like one entire like half of the park. Like we know the park, we go there, but like it would have been easy had it been my first time. Like it would have been so easy to just not even know that it was there. Like I could have
Right.
missed like a whole section of a park. And Jonathan wants me to remind you to bring a Disney sponge for bathing.
Okay. What?
Yeah, exactly. You
Okay.
haven't been exposed to my husband very much yet.
No,
So
I'm getting the
yeah,
experience. It's great. I
he's
love it.
he's my very special man. He makes life never dull, never for a second.
Oh, that's so
Mm-hmm.
great. I love
Yeah.
that. Those are some great tips. I wouldn't even have thought of the screenshot one. So I'm going to write that down because I feel like I should have been doing that all along. And it's just like I have narrowly escaped not needing that because many times. So really great tip. Really all of that. And with raining too, with the rain, it's interesting because I'm from Oregon and that's where I'm currently at. And the rain here is like we just don't even bother with raincoats or rain gear because it's like a sprinkle most of the time. So we just put like our hoodie up and like call it a day. So when
Mm-hmm.
we went to Florida, my husband and I, and one time it just started like kind of like trickling, and we just assumed it would just be like Oregon, and then all of a sudden it was like 2 seconds later, it's like this downpour, and we were so
Yeah.
wet. From then on out, always carry a poncho.
Yeah. We get this crazy, they're called microbursts. And the craziest one ever happened on my wedding day. We were supposed to be getting married outside. It was beginning of May. Seemed safe. It never is. And sure enough, now by the ceremony, actually it was over, but it happened. I was like freaking tornado, almost like winds gusting for like 10 minutes, and then over just enough to totally soak the area so that we had to so we ended up moving everything inside, but that can happen with
Oh,
no warning
oh,
at any time. And
that's so sad.
yeah,
Sorry
it
that
was fun.
happened.
It worked out how it was supposed to work out. Everything was okay. We knew enough to have the wedding in a place where it could be moved if it needed to be, because again, we're Floridians. So yeah, like the rain here is very, yes, it is just like the wedding in Encanto. So if you may, Jonathan would like to know if you like the shape of Oregon,
If I like the shape of Oregon.
like how it's shaped on a map.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's partially shaped that way because of the rivers that define it, because we have the Columbia in the top and we have the Snake River for Idaho on the side. So it's kind of a fun shape that way. And then it just gets cut off at California because we just separate ourselves from California. So I guess so. I've
Okay.
never been asked that before. I think it's
Yeah.
it's okay. It's not a
We're here
weird
with the
shape.
hard hitting questions.
I do. I mean, I love Oregon, and I grew up here. This is like my home state. I did move several other places around the world. I lived in Ireland for a while, and I
Hey,
lived in
pretty.
Baltimore for a while. So I've been other places, but Oregon's my home. I love it here. It's just, yeah, never thought about the shape of the state. Yeah, I'll say
I've
it's
been
good.
to, I've been to Oregon one time. I went to Medford, so just over
Okay.
the border. I was
Yeah.
19 and I got my belly button pierced. The end.
Ah,
So I just assume that's what happens every time you go to Oregon.
yeah, this never happened to me. So I don't know.
No, give it time.
You never know. Oh, that's so funny. Rhonda says she's gonna be right back. She's gonna look for a map to see Oregon.
Okay, there you go.
Because we have the ocean on the other side. It's all the Pacific coast, which I always love about Oregon, that all of the coastline is public land. So there's no private land. So you can go to the beach anywhere. You just drive to the coast and you can go to the beach. So things I love about my state. Anyway, yeah, and I did, yeah, people are asking about Ireland. Yeah, I did live in Ireland. My husband, so we have kind of a musical family too. I don't know if you know that, Barbie. My husband plays Irish music. So he plays the uilleann pipes, which is the Irish bagpipe, and also
Awesome.
tin whistle and flute and fiddle and like virtually every instrument because he's just that talented. But we lived in Ireland while he went to get his master's degree. So we did that for our first year of marriage. We just moved to a foreign country. It was an adventure.
That's amazing. I'll be doing that eventually. So, fun fact, my husband's actually way more interesting than I am. So, I'll just talk about him. He's a
Oh,
French
that's awesome.
citizen. So,
Really?
me moving to another country is very much a possibility. And he's been to Ireland. Actually, he talks about it all the time. And he also plays 5,000 million instruments. My father was that way too, and so it's like angering for
Oh
me.
yeah, yeah. I can sing, but I can't do instruments, so it's always frustrating for me. I'm like, you do all the instruments and all of the sing.
I did play. I played piano, flute. Oh yeah, forever growing up. I was in band, and I did that in college. And But singing now is my main thing. I tried to do guitar, but because I know music the way I know it, like it just I couldn't make my brain. Now is my main thing. I tried to do guitar, but because I know music the way I know it, like it just I couldn't make my brain. Oh, so I'm like, Jonathan, do it.
Yeah, you do it. That's what I do for piano lessons. I'm like, you're gonna
Hey,
have to
Holly.
teach them. Someone did ask me, like, it's Elliot. He does have a TikTok. He does have a TikTok. It's Elliot Grasso Music. That's his TikTok. He doesn't post a ton on there. I'm trying to get him to post more, but he does have a TikTok. So anyway, let's get into Genie Plus. I know we kind of went on a
Yeah.
little rabbit trail there. And I will say before we start this section, if you guys have questions, we have separate chats, both me and Barbi. So you can ask a question in either one. If I see it here, I'll make sure to ask it of her, or you can pop over to hers to ask questions. So this is an interactive show. We want you guys to be involved and get all your questions answered. So please don't be shy. Um, so
Absolutely.
so let's start with Genie Plus.
Thank
It
you.
can just be like ridiculously confusing. I think we can all admit to that, right? So can you give us maybe a quick overview of how it works, which I know is a loaded question, but
I'm
and
sorry.
go.
I'm so sorry. Someone said they didn't realize I had children. ATV girl. Yes, I do. They're amazing. And my husband said that they're inflatable. So I'm sorry.
There's stuff going on in that chat.
Yeah. I don't even have that many people in here, but it's where the party is. I don't. So I tried. Like I tried. I did get my Genie Plus video the other day down to 2 minutes, but
Or so you have practice,
basically,
so you can you got
yeah.
this.
But here's the thing, like I try to explain it quickly to my clients on the phone and they basically just give up. Like they go, "Oh
Yeah.
my god." And they're just like, "No, just do it, do it, do it." I'm like, "Okay, you got it." But Genie Plus is the system in which you now book lightning lanes, which has replaced the old Fastpass system. So really is how you get to go on rides faster. And it's an undetermined amount per day now.
I know. We used to be able to say it's this much. It's 15. It's 20. It's like, nope. We don't know how much it'll be.
Yeah, like it, at least out there like 25, like okay. And I should have thought about it before I made that other video about Genie Plus. What I just made, I should have been like, wait, it's October, they're gonna do something, it's been a year. I should have thought about it before I posted that video, and I didn't. And then within 4 days it was already outdated. I was like, are you kidding
So
me? So
frustrating.
yeah, so you have to purchase Genie Plus the day of your trip. You used to be able to get it in advance and then add it to your whole trip. You now have to purchase it every morning before you go, which I get both sides. It was nice to do it in advance to know that it was done and to know something else you don't have to worry about at 6:50 a.m. when you're at your sharpest. So
I know I am. Wide
oh
awake.
yeah, totally. Yeah, it's great. So that was nice, but then I'm sure what happened a lot was people, because you had to add it. It was all or nothing. So I'm sure there are people that were like, "Oh, it's been 3 days. I don't want to use it anymore. I'm still here for 4 more days." Or I'm sure people were wanting money back, and
Yeah.
so I'm guessing that's why. So they're thinking, okay, so now you can decide if you want to use it every day. But it would still be nice if you could just add it in advance, even just to the one day, just so you know that it's done, as opposed to, because like now we're going to get done and I have clients that meet at Epcot tomorrow. So I'm going to have to go get everything set up for them. But then I also have to remind myself that I've got to get Genie Plus in the morning for them, for their trip. And it would be so nice, like as I'm setting that up the night before, to be like, oh, and that's handled. Check. Nope, can't do it. So, oh well.
Katie O says the amount of times I slept through my first Genie Plus bookings. Like, I think we've all been there. It's really easy to sleep through them
Yeah,
so early.
it can't, like for myself, I absolutely have, like for me, but not for my clients. I'd be in a lot of
Right.
trouble.
Right. No, of course not. Of course. But I just, yeah, that's Ooh, so the range that it is now per day is what, like 15 to 23, 22?
22. But here's the thing. They said in the wording for the month of October, it will be from $15 to $22.
It's gonna go up.
It
Christmas.
could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. So let's that's a great. So there's also individual lightning lanes that are different than the regular Genie Plus. Do you want to mention a little bit about that?
Yeah. So individual lightning lanes are independent from Genie Plus. I wish they called it a different word. Like
Yeah.
I can't say that enough, because since you use Genie Plus to get the lightning lanes, the fact that you're buying something else, calling like I just call it a different wish granted. Call it something.
Wish granted. I love
I like
that.
to call them fancy rides, but they are premium rides that you can purchase independently of Genie Plus, and you do not have to have Genie Plus to get individual lightning lanes or vice versa. You can get them both. You can get one. You can get the other. Completely up to you. It's just you just have to write down which ones you need for which park and etc.
Right. Well, and they're the cost for them is per person. It's not. I mean, obviously Genie Plus is per person, but it's like per person per ride. So it's not
Yep.
like, yeah. And the thing that I bothers me. There's a lot that bothers me, to be honest, about Genie Plus. But one of the things that always bugs me is that, like, with old. A lot of people compare it with Max Pass and Disneyland. I don't know if you had any experience with that.
I
Um,
heard all about it. I heard it was great. And this
it
was
was.
supposed to be like that.
It's so not. It's not at all because of the individual lightning lanes will like stall out things for a standby. It's rough. But another thing that I don't like is that you can only ride each ride once in the day.
Mhm.
With the Genie Plus, you can do standby if you want to ride it again. But like if my
Of
kid
course.
wants to go on like Space Mountain like 6 times in a day, and that's all we want to use our Genie Plus for, and we're waiting like everybody else, I'm not sure how come they won't let us ride it more than
Especially
once.
since you pay for it. Like,
Right.
why is
Yeah.
it with Fastpass, which was free, we could do whatever we wanted, but now that it's a paid service, it's limited.
Right. Yeah.
That's
That doesn't
very
doesn't add
strange.
up.
Like at least Universal with their express passes, which admittedly are much, much more, but you can get the one, there's two. You can get one where it's just one per ride, or you can get one that's express unlimited and then it's multiple times. And it's really not that big of a price difference. I mean, it is a price difference, but it's not huge.
Right. But their like Express Pass is just more expensive in general than Disney, right?
Oh yeah.
It's like way more.
Like, yes.
I don't know that much about Universal, so I just like I know you do though, so like ask all the
Yeah.
questions. So, all right. So that's a little quick overview. If any of that was confusing, you're probably in good company because I think we're all a little confused by it. But so what are some of your best tips then for using Genie Plus? What do you tell people?
Um, so the best thing is, man, there's so many. Determine what time of day you want to go to the park. If you want to go at then, because that determines how you're going to use Genie Plus. Like if you're going to go to multiple parks in a day, or if you want to go later in the day, then stacking your Genie Plus times is awesome and can be like a fantastic way to work the system. And so you'll want to do it that way. So determine the time of day you're intending to go first, and then figure out which rides are the most important to you, and versus how popular the rides are. Like if you're just dying to do the teacups, and that is going to uh, make or break your vacation if you don't go on the teacups. Well, guess what? You don't have to buy Genie Plus. You're fine. You go
Yeah.
all day long. Not a problem. But if you absolutely have to ride Peter Pan and you cannot get in early for early access, then I'm going to tell you, get your Genie Plus and make sure you book that first.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to book the rides that are most popular to you and the most popular to the world. Those are your two determining factors. Those are the ones you're going to go for first as soon as you're starting to book, because the more popular the ride is, the later the time is going to be to get it.
Yeah, that's great advice. Someone
Mm-hmm.
asked, can you please explain what stacking is?
Yes. Okay. So here we go. Got your pen ready and your notepad? So stacking is a way to be able to have more than one ride stacked at a time. And what the advantage to it is, you can have multiple rides, and you can end up with multiple rides like in a very short time frame. I have a video that I did recently where I hit like Epcot's 3 biggest rides in the span of an hour and a half and made it to a
That's
dinner
great.
reservation. So, and I was able to do that because I was up stacking all day long. So it can work really, really great, especially again, if you're going for the evening or if you're starting at one park and hopping to another park. It's an excellent way to use it. But the way it works is you get up at 7 and you book your first Genie Plus ride at 7 a.m. or anytime after 7. So really between 7 and between the park opening, it doesn't matter what time for your first selection when you get it. So somewhere there, make your first one. And then once the park opens, and that's the important part that people get stuck on. Once the park opens, then you can book a ride every 2 hours. Or once the park is open and you book a ride from that point on, you can book another ride every 2 hours after you booked that initial ride. But nothing can happen until 2 hours after the park. So for a park like Animal Kingdom that opens really early, I think tomorrow's opening at 7:30, stacking, man, you're on it by 9:30 a.m. You get to start stacking. It's phenomenal. But Magic Kingdom opening at 9, you can't start till 11. So you do need to pay attention to that, like how to use it to your advantage. So really, you can stack as many as you want. There's no limit. The only limit is how much time you have to do it in, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah. And you can get it as soon as you go through the tap style for a ride that you had one for. You can usually get another one, correct?
Not with stacking, but
Not
with
with
the other
stacking.
one.
With the other
Yes.
one. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Gosh. And that, thank you for explaining that. It's, and I know Disney World and Disneyland are a little bit different with Genie Plus. I know that with Disneyland, you can't even buy Genie Plus till you enter through the, turnstiles, the tap styles. I think they're turnstiles there. And then you can purchase it on, and then you can book as soon as you're through and you've purchased Genie Plus. But you can book from anywhere, right, in Disney World?
Disney World is 7 a.m. You don't have to be on property
Right. So you
at
could
all.
book from your bed in your hotel room. You don't have to wait to get to the park to book, correct? Just
Yes.
clarifying that because it's it's confusing. Where do we do that from? So it is interesting. I wonder if someday they're going to change it to be more like Disneyland where you can't book until you get into the parks or vice versa. I don't know.
I,
Disneyland.
I don't.
Disneyland you don't stay on property very often. So,
So I don't, were you there for the early days of Rise of the Resistance? Like
yes.
like within the first 2 weeks,
Oh,
like the earliest days.
no. Probably no, I was past that.
Okay. So, because they learned a lesson, and I think that's why they changed everything to 7 a.m. from wherever. Uh, so now originally they changed this because of COVID to prevent the crowds. But what would happen initially with Rise of the Resistance, and Jonathan and I were there day one, and I took my son, his birthday. Hey, Jonathan, watch it. My son's birthday was like right after that too, and I actually kept him and my daughter out of school, and we went to Hollywood Studios at 5 a.m. So here's what would happen. Hollywood, you would scan in. happening is for a 7 a.m. opening. You would
Oh,
happening is for a 7 a.m. opening. You had
oh
people
yeah.
showing up at 4 in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not kidding.
That's
Like,
terrible.
yeah, because that's what they just wanted to get there soon. Because then, uh, you could, if you weren't there early enough, even if you show up right at park opening, if you're behind that crowd, by the time you scan in, everything's gone.
Oh, I remember that now.
So,
Now that it's all coming back to me, that era. I remember seeing it.
yeah, yeah. So that was it. So that lasted like at least 2 weeks, maybe even up to a month. And then they changed it to where it happened right at the opening time, but you had to be in the park. So then everyone would still show up early, not quite as early, but they'd still get there early, and they'd walk us all. We'd be in this huge group right in front of Galaxy's Edge, like right there by the bathrooms, by Star Tours, and looking at baseline, thinking like, oh man, I wish. So then they'd be like, count you down, and then at 7 o'clock you're in this big group, and you'd hear like, I got it, and you hear like, rah! Like,
Oh
and
gosh.
that was when it was just one and done. They didn't do that secondary time. That started after COVID, so that was just it. So if you weren't there at 7 a.m., and there are people there at 7 a.m. that
I
got
was
there at
there for
5
that
a.m.
era. I remember doing
Yeah.
that. I remember
Uh,
being in Hollywood studios and being in the crowd and like both my husband and I are like hunched like this, like waiting,
yes.
and then you start hearing everybody like popcorning. I remember that.
Uh-huh. But there are
Memories.
people who showed up that early because they went so fast that then weren't writing until like 9 p.m.
Ugh, that's crazy.
because it just was like all of, yeah, it was nuts. So because of that, because people here are insane, I don't think they'll go to that for Genie Plus,
Yeah,
because I
that's a
don't
good
want to be
point.
there at 5.
No, 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 that would be terrible for especially with travel agents trying to make plans for people and things. So
Yeah.
that is a very good point. And I think that's one of the fundamental differences between Disneyland and Disney World because their audiences are so different. A lot of Disneyland
Mm-hmm.
is locals who
Yep.
would not think to go early to the parks because they have to go to work. So, it's just kind of a different vibe in general, but it's so interesting that they are very different. So if you are
Mm-hmm.
used to the Disney World one and you're going to Disneyland, make sure you do a little bit of reading up before you go because they are a little bit different in the way that they operate. And there's quite a which rides for Disney World remind me are the individual Lightning Lane. I know Rise is one. They
Yeah.
took Remy off of that list, so Remy's not one anymore.
They, I actually wish he were still on it personally,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
uh, it's Cosmic Rewind, Rise of the Resistance, Flight of Passage,
Rite of
and
Passage, right?
Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which I don't predict will be there much longer. As soon as Tron opens, then
Yeah, they'll switch it to that probably.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. So in Disneyland, they just took web slingers off of that list, and now it's just Rise in Disneyland, and it's Radiator Springs Racers in California Adventure, and those are the only two that have individual Lightning Lane, which of course, like we said, is not included in Genie Plus. It's an extra charge. And
Mhm.
if you're headed to Disneyland in Radiator Springs, I tried rope dropping it a couple times to see if that was the best strategy, and it really wasn't. There's so long lines there, and it sometimes is not like working in the morning. Like it's got issues, a lot of mechanical issues. So my best strategy for that, if you don't want to buy individual Lightning Lane for Radiator Springs Racers, is to go right near closing time when they are doing World of Color, and that means that they'll close the line behind you and no more individual Lightning Lane people can come in front of you and get on the ride because that is what I've stood in that line for 3 hours plus, and it just keeps getting longer and longer because they keep letting people in ahead of you and they say we prioritize it, your wait time's now gone up, and it's awful. So but if you do it near closing time, nobody else can go in front of you and actually goes really fast. So that's my best advice for that little side
Got
note.
it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Jonathan and I have an awesome picture right outside Radiator Springs, and we did not go on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Like the
didn't
line
know
is long.
it was super long, and I didn't know anything about it. Like, I didn't know that it was like this amazing new thing. I didn't really, I hadn't been to California Adventure in a long time. We only had like one afternoon to be there, and yeah. So then I found out later, and I was like,
Yeah.
waited, but
Did you go
yeah.
into Radiator Springs or just not the ride?
We walked around it, and
Okay.
so we've got a picture like outside, like the red rocks, like a
Oh yeah.
really cute picture of us. Jonathan saying he was too short to ride it. My husband is 6'4".
Too short to ride. Love it.
Yeah,
um, yeah. So
you
definitely, I
just
didn't. Go ahead.
you just said a good thing about like what you just said about that though is the same thing about Rise of the Resistance
Hmm.
here because it likes to not wake up. And
Yeah.
so I have told my clients over and over again, I'm like, if you're not staying on Disney property and Rise of Resistance is going to make or break your vacation, first of all, you've got to be somewhere where you can at least get the early access. But if you can't get, I was like, you're taking a gamble. There's at least a 30 to 40% chance it's not going to open on time.
Yeah.
And unless you just happen to be right place, right time, by the time it opens, it's immediately at 180 minutes, just like that.
Yeah.
So you really run the risk. So it's really, if that ride is going to make or break your vacation, it's really in your best interest to stay on Disney property or to do exactly what you just said and go at the end of the day as opposed to the beginning of the day once it's had time to warm up and be in like, so go later in the day, the line will be like, uh, way shorter than in the beginning. A lot of people get real tired at Hollywood studios and they give up and go home.
Yeah.
Especially
There's
because
not a lot of
there
shade
hasn't been
there.
Fantasmic. But now
Yeah.
Fantasmic's coming back next month.
I know, that's so exciting. I was
Yeah.
really happy to see that news. Like they're
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like they've got to tuck some good news in amongst all the the rest of it.
Right.
Like, okay, we see what you're doing, but it's okay because we're excited about Fantasmic.
I know.
Oh gosh. Um, so I will mention about Rise at Disneyland. They sometimes close that queue even like up to an hour or like at the end of the evening they'll close it before park closing time. So be aware
Really.
in Disneyland. Yeah, it's weird. Like I don't know why they do that just because they're just trying to get people through and out because it's in the back of the park because the way they
Mm-hmm.
close Disneyland is kind of from the back to the front. So it probably has to do that because they just want to get everybody out of the park and do their closing time stuff. So just be aware that you can go during like fireworks and stuff. Just make sure it's early enough that that queue is still open. You don't want to miss that time. So that's a little bit different than Hollywood Studios Rise. So West Coast, East Coast.
Good to know.
Yeah, yeah, little hack. So gosh, was there any other best practices for using Genie Plus that you have? Yes, that you have.
Man.
I know it's a
Don't use
lot.
it for shows. Just don't use it to book a ride that's going to be after the show and use the show as like your interim time. If you can't get a ride for like an hour or two, then use that time to go see a show. Don't book a show. That's a total waste of a Genie Plus. Like there's no reason. There's no show. If you get there at least 15 minutes ahead, if 20 minutes ahead of time, there is no show that you're not going to get in really because they're all meant to hold hundreds of people. And if you're not there in time with your lightning lane, you're not getting in anyways. Like if you show up too late and they've closed it, you're not getting in. So you could totally just because you have it, it's not guaranteed that you still have to show up 15 minutes ahead of time to use the lightning lane. So that's a big one. I have a lot of people that want to book them, and I'm like, no. Like we're gonna book this ride and then we're gonna go in the middle. So that's
Right.
one. I
Smart.
also think like the parade is a waste. You want to use them for characters, fine. If meeting this particular character, again, it's going to make or break your vacation, you have to meet this character, then fine. Go ahead and use it for that. That can be okay if it can be bigger. You're going to use it for Bug's Life, Travis. Okay. All right. You go ahead and use it for Bug's Life. I'll go into 10-minute wait beside you and I'll just sit right next to you in the theater.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, rides like that too. Like, if you see, like, oh yeah, that's good, Holly. That's correct. You can scan 5 minutes early and up to at least 10 minutes after. I'm guessing it's 15, like Fastpass was, but I have pushed it up to 10 minutes. But much half an hour or so, it'll just disappear. But that's another reason why you want a screenshot if you are late and you need to beg forgiveness, because if you know, that's like a really important one. Like you're watching a clock, because say you get stuck on a ride, you know, like your soaring goes down or up and you're stuck there in the air heaven forbid.
Or up. I was like, or up. Oh,
and then you got to make it to France,
yeah,
you know, to Ratatouille, because it's part of Genie Plus now.
it's a long
you
way.
know, Lord have mercy on you. So if while you're dangling up there, go ahead and be like, oh, I should screenshot Ratatouille. So take a screenshot. So then once you get there, you can be like, look, we were stuck on the ride. We did have this, because at a certain point, it will just disappear. It'll be gone from your My Day tab, and so you won't have it anymore. That's same also with dining reservations. Like once your allotted time is gone, it's just gone, and so it's just off into the world. So again, screenshot, like all the time. I cannot stress it enough. Like I'll finish a tour and I'll have like 15 random screenshots. And then it'll be like 3 o'clock the next day. And I'll be like, I think I can delete these now. Probably. I still don't feel good about it though, even though I know that they're not at Magic Kingdom and they're not trying to get on Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Still, there's still a possibility they might need it. Like,
no, I totally get that. It's like there's that anxiety of like, we might need it. You never know. Yep.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, those are some really great tips. I also know like, what if you want to change a reservation you have with Genie Plus? Is there a way to do that?
Too
bad. No empathy.
Don't do it. So, well, first of all, with individual lightning lanes, it ain't happening. It's not. And now my husband's home and I hear myself like in stereo. So that's fun. Hi, sweetheart.
Oh, hey, it's Barbi, the Genie Plus expert. Hey, guys.
Hi.
Live at 5, right here.
Okay. Will you let Jingles in the house?
No.
Okay. That's fine.
Thanks for doing the TikTok.
Oh, yeah. It was so great to have Barbi here. Hi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we've enjoyed your comments.
Thank you. They're all very well thought out.
Yeah.
But it's something.
Circus Travis, he's really live this time. I'm always live,
no.
man.
So Jonathan also has a TikTok.
Yep, live at 5.
Where he teaches people how to be a Disney creator. And it's the biggest troll account you've ever seen. And most of them start often saying like live at 5, but it's never 5. And it's also never live because they only have like 150 followers.
I want to follow that. That sounds amazing.
Jono Fake Pants.
She sees it. She can see my
She
name.
can't see it. She can't see my comment.
She's
got her
I
own
can't see his
whole thing happening.
Who knows how TikTok works in this room? Clearly me.
My mistake. Sorry.
Anyway.
So, I was actually saying something important, and that totally like, if you want to change plans. Okay, so here's the deal. On the tip board, it used to be that you would see, it would say booked, and then it would show you the current return time. And that threw people off because then they kept thinking that their book time had changed. Because instead of looking at the My Day tab where the actual time was, they kept seeing that it said booked and the current. So then to fix it, Disney just made it say booked in the time. But now you don't see what the current return times are. So let's say you book something, but a better time comes available. You just won't know. So
unless you have like a friend who hasn't been booked, right? They could look.
Yeah, someone else in another account be like, "Hey, can you keep an eye on this for me?" At that point, I'd be like Jackie, because Jackie is like who I bother all the time. I pay her, and I'm so grateful to her. But I'll be like, Jackie, I actually have to drive now. I don't have time, but I really need you to get me Slinky Dog for these people. Can you please pound the app for me? And she's like, I'm on it. And she always gets it.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
She's so good at it. Yeah.
She's incredible. So, So yeah, so if you do, but like, let's say there's a ride, you decide you don't want to do it anymore, and you see a better time comes up for something else where you can still see the time. What you can do is go to the My Day tab, open the ride, and there should be a cancel option. Now, for extra fun, about 50% of the time, it won't be there. And you've got to click back and forth a few times until the cancel actually shows up.
Woohoo! It's like a party.
So, yeah, Lightning Jack Queen. I know that's totally her name. It was just perfect. Yeah, individual lightning lanes, you can't do anything.
You're just done.
Once you have them, you have them. If you need to make a change, you need to go find someone a blue umbrella and just beg forgiveness and hope that they will show you mercy. And usually they'll just laugh at you and be like, "Yeah, sorry."
politely laugh at you.
Yeah, there's nothing I can do. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Changing those. It's not happening. So again, that's one, especially because you've paid for it. Like, screenshot that always, and then that way, if something happens again, you're dangling on Soren, and you can't get over to Cosmic Rewind. That way, they can show them I had it. I swear. Actually, something important though that I learned about individual lightning lanes on a recent tour. I had a guy. I made a video about this at the time too. I had a man on the reservation. Whoa, that sounds like I'm talking about something totally different.
We're with you. We get it.
Okay. So he was connected to everything. He had his park reservation correct. He was, they were staying at a Disney resort. He was linked to everything. Like, everything should have been fine. And for some reason, every single day, it would not let me purchase the individual lightning lane for him. It just said he was ineligible. What? No idea why. And even went to the people, they didn't know. So what they had us do was, once the park opened, then it said he was eligible. So I was able to book one for him. Now, it wasn't the same time, but they just adjusted it because it was just the one, and we begged them, and they just changed it, and they let him through. And it was a rather large group too. It was like 7 or 8 people, and he was the only one. So they were cool about that. So if you do encounter that type of a problem, that is one workaround. He was on double secret Disney probation. Oh, okay, good to know. That was
how you
Travis.
Have your answer.
Yeah. So yeah, still no idea why. And I never got an answer. And even so, the first day it happened was for Seven Dwarfs, and I just thought I booked it. It was so early. Maybe I did something wrong. I don't know. Or maybe it just because you just go so fast. But then the next day, I had Adrienne helping me with Rise, and she was like, I can only get 6 people. And I was like, okay. So it wasn't my fault. And I went in and I checked everything. He was on everything. And I was like, all right, so we'll just have to see what happens when the park opens. Just get what you can get. And so that was one where we bought him a time. It was for 7 p.m., but their time was at 8:30. And so gosh. I was prepping them, walking over. I was like, all right, so you're going to say this, you're going to do this, and I was giving this whole pep talk. I was and if it's not work, we'll get an umbrella, we'll do this. And then but they let him right in. It was nothing. It was it was done in a matter of seconds. It was fine. But it was very, very stressful. I know the Universal system is more expensive, but God, there's so much more I like about it. It's just so much easier. When I go there, it's like I'm on a vacation because you just go to the ride and you just show up.
Yeah, you don't have to make any sort of reservations. You just go in a specific line, right? Because you've paid for the what is it, express service?
Yep.
So, that sounds so much better, honestly.
I mean, everything has their positives and minuses. I understand that Disney. See, here's the thing. There's this perception that everyone has. They're all like, "Oh, Disney's so much busier. It's so much." Look at you with that sombrero.
Thanks, Rhonda.
That was fancy.
That was a fancy hat. Woo!
That was pretty awesome. So
mariachi hat.
they're like, yeah, but they can't do this at Disney because Disney's so much busier. And I'm like, I've been to Universal and seen Hulk with 2-hour waits, and we're walking through Hogsmeade and we are shoulder to shoulder, and Hagrid's is 2.5 hours, and Velocicoaster, you know, like, it's not. Disney is not that much busier than Universal. Trust me, it isn't. Like, I see lines there, wrap around buildings, and you're waiting for counter service for half an hour. Like, that's not true. It's just the Express Pass can take longer. They don't guarantee the 20 minutes or less that Disney does. They just say half the standby time. So you still want to implement some strategy. There is still a way you want to go around the park, you know, to get the best. So there are some differences. And again, the cost is significantly more. Right. But even with that, like, I rarely have people wait that long. I really don't.
Right. This feels, I know a common complaint, and some people have even commented here, is that it's so frustrating to have to look at your phone your whole vacation to like book stuff. And especially if you're trying to make adjustments, or, you know, and you're also doing mobile order, hopefully, for food, because that's pretty much what you do now, you know, unless you're sitting at a restaurant. So, you know, between those two things, your head's in your phone a lot. And that's, I know that's very frustrating for a lot of people. And I don't particularly love that either. My phone, but my head's already in my phone because of social media. So, like, yeah, you know, it is
right.
What it is.
That's actually part of my elevator pitch. Like, when someone contacts me and they want to know, oh, no, ATV girl, I'm Monica. That's my real name.
I keep calling you Barbie.
No. People call me Barbi. That's my name around town. That's totally my nickname. That was my nickname for a long time before I was on social media. So
gotcha.
It's easy to just keep it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Monica, your daughter. No, it's me. But I very rarely get called that. Oh yeah. So when people like want to know about the service, that's why I tell them, I'm like, yes, Genie Plus takes a lot of learning, and I am with you, so you can actually talk to your family members, and you don't have to spend all day living and dying by your phone, because it's setting alarms and double checking your times and trying to keep your time straight, and like, it's a lot, and my phone is like dying every single day. Like, Jonathan was with me last weekend when we were doing Genie Plus. He was like, no wonder your phone's always like dead, because his phone never goes dead. And he's like, no wonder, because you're on this thing constantly. I'm like, especially if we get to a point where I have to, go back and forth and, click clack to get something. And you're just like on and on and on and on, like, it's, fuel rods all day long.
Yeah, well, thank goodness for fuel rods, right? But explain click clacking a little bit for those who might not know what that is.
So it used to be called pounding the app, and so basically what it is just refreshing the screen over and over and over again to get something either at a better time or to get something to even like show up at all. So like, let's say Test Track. I do this with Test Track a lot. Test Track is sold out. There's no more times available. So once my family is through the majority of the rides, and I know that they're going to go to lunch soon, so they'll have a space, then I start refreshing on the tipboard screen over and over and over again to see if I can get Test Track to pop up. And very often it will, but you got to be fast. Like, as soon as you see it, you got to like click on it so you can get it, because if you're not fast enough, it'll disappear. It's so frustrating.
I have anxiety just from talking about this. I'm like, oh, I'm reliving it.
I know.
I think that
I'm going to be doing it in less than 12 hours.
Oh my goodness. I think the one time I was live streaming and Jacque did book all my stuff for me all day was like the best day ever, because I didn't even have to think about it. So having someone do that for you really is worth it in value, especially if you really just want to chill and relax and enjoy your vacation. Totally worth any cost, honestly. For me, I'm like, have somebody help me, please. So
yeah, families always, like, I have so many families that will not step foot in a Disney park if I'm not out with them, and they call me first. And if I'm not available, they don't come. There's like, I'm not doing it. No. And they'll wait. They will wait and redo their trip to when I'm available to take them. And now Jonathan's learning, and he's going to be a tour guide.
Wow,
So
that's great.
that's happening.
That's happening.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
He'll be
That's great.
Yeah.
Sounds like he'd be a lot of fun.
No, he's going to be great. It's going. Yes, absolutely. Well, I have a group coming next month that's French Canadian. So I'm like,
wow.
oh, you can go French with them all day long. Like, great.
So
like, they'll have so much more fun together.
That sounds like so much fun.
Than me.
I love that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely a fun job, but it is a job.
Right. Absolutely. Well, a few more things about Genie Plus. I don't want to take up your whole evening, but of course, there's so much to talk about. What is there any time you recommend not using Genie Plus?
Oh, hey, Janae. No.
It's okay. No. It's okay if there's no.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true at all. They speak Quebecois. Yeah. If you Animal Kingdom, you don't necessarily have to have it. If you can get early access at Animal Kingdom or go later in the day at Animal Kingdom, as long as you can just either get there super early, rope drop flight of passage, or buy it for later in the day. If you need, okay, I'll tell them. Thank you. If you go on the Mexican boat ride, you don't need Genie Plus. But because it's not an option. For those who don't know, it doesn't have it. Thank you. So you came in just to whisper that in my ear. Yeah. So yeah, hot take right here. So yeah, if you're not really into the big thrill rides, if you've got the early access for pretty much any park, you can get a decent amount done, and you don't have to have it. Or if you're going later in the day, you don't necessarily have to have Genie Plus. You can get by without it. I would take a look at the tip board. Take a look at the wait times before you get there. Like if you're on the fence, like see what the wait times are if you haven't purchased it, and then decide based on that if you want. Also, too, if you're going to do it that way, look at the tip board and make sure you know what's still available to know.
That's good.
Yeah, he does need a tour guide, Ken. You are absolutely right. And Adrienne and I, Drunk History, if you guys know her, have discussed that at length, that I need to make him a tour guide Ken t-shirt, and I will be doing that.
That sounds so fun. I want to meet Adrienne. I'm such a huge fan of hers. So eventually we'll be there. She's so great. She makes me laugh every time I see her stuff come up.
So. Hilarious. She's so freaking fun. She ordered me the freaking, we went to San Angel Inn, and she got me the chocolate pyramid for my birthday. Yeah, it was so cool. Also, it was so awesome that she just happened to plan a trip here during my birthday. It was like the best birthday trip here during my birthday. It was like the best birthday weekend ever. And then we got to meet Holly, and we got to hang out for a day. That was super fun too.
Oh, that's so great. I love that.
That was a good day.
I think I just got one more question. Do you think Genie Plus is worth the cost? Why or why not?
Man, I'll put it this way. I buy it for me and my kids. It's Drunk History, ATV girl. So I'll put it that way. Like I do. If I'm going to the parks with my children, and I know that we want to do some things. Because first of all, we're not getting early access because we're not staying on property. I'm not staying in a hotel. I'm in my house. So already by the time we get there, everything's going to be full. And yeah, absolutely, Travis. Travis said for sure if you only visit once a year. Yes, absolutely. Like I've never had a family so far that said, oh man, I wish we hadn't spent that money ever. Sure. Right. Now, especially now that it's working better, like early on,
That's
when
rough.
it was so buggy, different story. But now
Yeah.
it has been a year. I will say it does work better. So yeah, if I have a day and I know I can stack some things for my kids because I know they want to do the bigger rides, I get it. If Jonathan and I are going for an evening, I don't get it. He doesn't go on rides, so it's pointless. But just because Disney, it's just always busy, like always,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
going to be waiting a long time. And that's the other thing too, though, because of my job, I'm so spoiled by short waits. I see anything over 20 minutes, I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. Like,
Oh, I'm that way, and I don't even have that job. I'm like, I'm not waiting for that because
but
I've
if
been
you
on it like a million times.
but if
Like,
you lived here, you would, because I would
yeah.
hire you like that.
Well, you never know. We talk about moving to Florida all the
Come,
time. So,
come. And the thing is, I know you have the correct pass because you can't. Or do you have an annual pass?
yeah, I have an credit
Yeah.
pass,
So you have to have
the
the
highest
accredited
one.
pass because that's your only option. So I
That's
already
all
know
I
you have
got.
the right one.
The
That's
highest
the
one.
problem now. I can't even hire anyone to help because they can't get a pass.
I know it's terrible. I really wish they would start selling those again. And Disneyland's the same situation. They're not doing magic key holder passes either. And luckily, I got that before they stopped selling them. So I'm like, I told my husband, I'm like, we are renewing these no matter what because I don't want to lose them, like because I can't
Yeah,
get them back.
it's
So
it's scary. Like
yeah.
they're Holly's saying, "Join us, Kate.
Oh
One
man,
of
I would move
us.
there in a
One
heartbeat.
of us." Yeah. Pretty. I can show you real. Like, have you been to real Orlando? Have you
Real?
been
I no, I don't
past?
think so. No,
Do you know
I'm
that
mostly. I
Disney
haven't even been to
World?
Universal yet, so I need to
Okay.
do that.
Do you know Disney is not in Orlando? Do you know
Yeah,
that?
I do know that. I know enough
Okay.
about like the Florida project and how they founded Disney and like all of the land. So I know a lot about that. I just have not
Mm-hmm.
I've not really been. I actually no, let me take that back. I did drive to Disney one time, so I have driven through a lot of the area, but I have not visited it. And I would like to. I think it's a lot to offer.
It's
So,
like I need to have Jonathan give you like an Orlando tour. So like how you are with Disney history. So like how you are with Disney history, he is with Orlando history, like
oh
that
man, that would be
detailed.
great.
And what's so cool actually is the place where Walt made the announcement about Disney World is less than a mile from our house.
Oh, that's so fun. I
It
love
was
that.
actually here in the downtown area. Yeah, it's really, really cool. And like the mayor was there and it was a whole thing. They actually have pictures of it. Still, the place is gone, but they still have pictures commemorating it in the building. And there's so much thing. Yeah, I don't know why they say it's in Orlando. I think because people don't
Nearby.
know how to say Kissimmee. They get confused, and Kissimmee is also terrible, and Orlando is cool. So I think it's just like people will say that Disneyland. Now you'll hear people say Anaheim more, but when I was a kid, it was Disneyland's in Los Angeles,
Los Angeles, yeah, which is it's
but
definitely
it's
not in
not.
Los Angeles. No, it's in a suburb,
No,
right? Exactly the
yes,
same.
same
Yeah.
thing. Disneyland Paris, also not in Paris.
No, it's like a train ride from Paris. I
Uh
did that.
huh.
I think it's like 45 minutes to an hour outside of Paris. So it's not in
Yeah,
the city.
yeah.
Yeah.
You bet. When we last time we were in France, I made him take me there.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's great.
I have been there, and he loved every minute of it. But yeah, it's not like a train, and it's a really cool train. But it's outside, and that one is actually in the name. Like at least it's not called Disney World Orlando.
Yeah. No, that would be, yeah. No, and Walt Disney didn't even set foot on the property of the Florida project until after he made that announcement. He did that announcement and then he went to see the land for the first time because he just never been because of all the secrecy that they had to do. So I always thought that was really fascinating that he just never was there before they made the announcement they're going to build Disney World.
I know he just looked at him at the map, and it was because of where the turnpike was in conjunction with I-4, right, Jonathan?
Yeah, there's a great book about it. That's I think buying Disney's land. I think is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Buying Disney's World. I have to look it up what it is, but is a fabulous book that came out somewhat recently, and it reads kind of like a spy novel because they hired people that used to be former CIA to keep it quiet, basically, so nobody would find out because of what happened with Disneyland. You know, they knew people
Right.
would buy up all the property and they wouldn't be able to afford it. So it's really fascinating read if anybody is interested in Disney history.
What?
So
We're talking about when Walt bought the property and how he chose the spot for Disney because of where it was on the turnpike.
Oh yeah, legend has it that. Well, you may know more about this than me, but
Kate's great with Disney history.
yeah. But apparently, when he flew over the turnpike and turnpike and I-4 interchange, he said, "That's it right there," because that was a major interchange, especially back then, man.
mm-hmm.
You know, there wasn't a lot down there either.
Thank
Obviously,
you.
this was before Universal or iDrive was
No.
really anything. But it's actually that stuff fascinates me. I'm a total like Florida history and Orlando history buff and nerd. So I studied it in college, and I have a collection of like I don't know. I think over 300 old photos. So
Oh, I love
nobody
that.
cares about them.
I would love them. It would be great.
Place at Lake Eola where he made the announcement.
Yeah. So I think it was Walt Roy and the governor at the time. I can't remember his name now off the top of my head. But yeah, I was in the lobby of a building right down the road from our house. Pretty cool.
That's so neat.
Yep.
Yeah, I was mentioning that it's there's a great book called I think it's Buying Disney's Land, Buying Disney's World. I'm trying to remember
Oh
the
yeah,
title, but
yeah.
that
I've seen
that
that.
one,
Always wanted to read that book.
yeah, like I said, it reads kind of like a spy novel, so it's really interesting to see all the ways that they kept it hidden from the public, and some of the ways they kind of failed because there was a reporter that figured some things out. So it's
Oh
a
yeah, there
great
was some
a great
leaking.
read.
There was all kinds of leaking and speculation, and yeah, it's a really fascinating story.
Mm-hmm.
Admittedly, I don't know as much about it as I'd like to, but it is really interesting. I mean, just the monumental growth that company brought to this city is unbelievable. And a lot of people talk about Disney in a lot of negative ways, and it's true that there are some terrible things economically that they've done. But overall, the economic power that they have been to this city is, I mean, it's unthinkable what Orlando would be without them. You know,
Yeah.
it would be nothing. We did have a little bit of industry here, a little bit of technology and some things, but I mean, my gosh, we would not be a major world city now without them. So, and I
Yeah.
certainly wouldn't have my career. I've had a very
Right.
successful career in what I do. Never worked for Disney, but I do work on Disney property every week as a musician. But yeah, I never worked directly for them, but my career wouldn't be possible without them. So you got to be
Mm.
thankful to the mouse, even though Genie Plus is an atrocity, and I think they made a huge. But I don't know if you guys
Tell us how you
saw
really feel.
Disney continuously raising their prices. Dude, their projections are still up for the upcoming year, despite the threat of economic recession, despite all of the challenges that we're facing now, socioeconomic challenges, both locally on a more broad national scale. I mean, despite all of that, despite the political kind of division they've stoked with some of their most recent controversies, all of that aside, they're still looking at upward projection because of the experience that you get when you go there. So
Yeah.
it's pretty fascinating, pretty wild.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I think it will only continue for so long, only because, there's going to be a tipping point in the recession, if that's what's coming, that, like people can only afford to go for so long if they keep raising their prices and the cost of living keeps going up. But I think we're still very much in this, the revenge travel slash now we're just feeling like the world is crazy and we need a place that's just like sane to kind of escape from it. And I feel like that's still very much going on where people need like a place to just, be. And it's like a happy place for so many people. So I think it's like more of a psychological, sociological place that we're going to right now because of we feel we need it. But I feel like there will be eventually a tipping point when economically people just they might need it but they can't go because they can't afford it. I think that is coming. I don't know when. That's just my personal take that I think that's going to happen.
I think you're right. I do agree with that. At some point, if the recession hits and cuts deep enough, it will affect travel and it will affect attendance. However, I don't know that it will affect profitability because Disney learned during the pandemic that they can make more money with less people. And to
Yeah.
be honest, this is going to sound like a terrible thing to say, but for locals, I will say that Disney being less accessible is not necessarily a bad thing, because if it means that less people can come here, that's not going to be too bad. It's a strain on our infrastructure. It really is. I mean, when Disney goes through its peak seasons and travel season is at its top, it's a strain on our infrastructure. And
Yeah.
so you know what? If they could get less people here and charge more money, then I think that everyone here in Orlando will be happy about it. I know maybe that's not the right thing to do, but I mean, I'm just
Well,
being honest.
I think they're trending that way with a lot of their, think of like the Halcyon, right? Of more like of elitist, higher end travel, if you will. Not nothing against that. Like if like I anybody can afford what they can afford, that's great. So not putting anybody down for being able to afford that, but like the majority of families can't afford that, and you can see that that's kind of like it's just trending that way for Disney, that they're just slowly kind of creeping up their prices because honestly the demand is there, so they can.
That's the
So
thing.
it's so I agree. I think that their profitability probably won't be impacted, but it is true that less people will probably be able to go if so.
But then that will affect us in other ways as locals, because so many other places that we work do still depend on tourists.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
That
You
is
guys
true.
have such cute dogs.
This
Sorry, I
is
haven't commented.
and that's Ringo. We've got we've got a small dog army. We've got a Chihuahua around here somewhere too.
Oh wow, I love that. They're so cute. So I'm distracted by your puppies. So yeah, I agree. I think but it's a lot of people. There's been a lot of things recently where I've heard people say like, why isn't anybody talking about these raising prices? People are just pretending it's not
They
happening, and I'm
will.
like, well, it's just going to keep happening. I think it's like Disney will just continue to raise prices periodically. They've done that for years, honestly. Like
Oh,
it's not a new thing. So
Big fan. Oh, thanks, Will. I'm a big fan of yours too, man.
uh,
You should come to my next book signing.
book signing. If only we could be so lucky that he will have. He is a Pappy Wawa. So he is a Chihuahua Papillon mix. And she's an Italian Greyhound.
I think he's a little bit more Papillon than Chihuahua, but yeah.
it's so
He
cute.
barks like a Papillon, that's for sure. He's a good boy, though.
Yeah. He's our little sweet man.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
He does look like a fox, so we call him the Fox Man. Or we call him Ringo, so we call him Ringo Star Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Combining the yes.
I love that.
Well,
that's so fun.
Live at 5, guys. I'm signing off
Are
because
you really?
well, I am. You don't have to, but yeah, I gotta go. I gotta cook.
He's going to be back.
I got a wife to feed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a wife to feed and a life to live outside of TikTok, okay?
I don't believe it for a second.
Yeah, anyways, I'm doing a book signing next month at Wallen Books. Bring a book, any book
Walden
doesn't matter.
Books.
Yeah.
Walden
Doesn't matter.
Books.
Yeah. I'll sign whatever book you want. I don't care what it is. I'll sign it. And, so just bring it by at Walden Books, and we'll have a good time together.
So we'll see you in 1997.
Mm-hmm. Make some hot wings. It'll be a lot of fun.
I used to work for Borders once upon a day. I think they owned.
Did you really?
Books. Yes.
I loved Borders.
I did. And my husband and I had our first date there, so it's always kind of a special thing. I want to say, first of all, thank you very much for being on here and being part of this conversation and helping us all understand Genie Plus a little bit more and how to do it better. I would love for you, if you have a second, to tell people how they can connect with you, what services you offer, how can they find you?
Okay, so the best way via social media is to just send me a message through Instagram. It's the exact same as my TikTok, TourGuideBarbi. Just send me a DM. I'm not going to say slip into my DMs. Kurt kept saying that. And I was like, that sounds
no.
don't do it that way. But
He's so innocent that he didn't mean anything by it, but we're all like, whoa.
I know, I know, I know. He's. I feel for him this week. Like once I found out this story of like what happened, I was like, oh my god, like it's so
Yeah.
terrible, but it's also hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so funny, but it's so not. But it's really
No.
funny. Yeah. So the best way, just send me a message via TourGuideBarbi. What I do for people is a couple things. At the top tier, so I can't book all your resort and your park tickets and all of that for you, of course. And then, but my main thing, what I do is I take people to parks and tell them like when to be there. Like tomorrow morning, I'm meeting people at Epcot at 7:45, and I help them with their trip. I do the Genie Plus for them. I push the stroller for them. I grab their coffee for them. I watch their kids so they can go on a ride. That happens a lot. You know, all of that basically for 1 day, 4 days, however many days they need. I just had a family use me for 6 days. That was my longest tour ever. We actually went to Epcot twice. It was great. I loved them though. They were from the UK. Night they insisted I eat with them and that I get a drink with them, and then the man turns to his 9-year-old daughter and gives her a sip of his beer, and then he turns to his son, and then he goes to the 2-year-old in the high chair, and I was like, stop. You are in America.
You don't do that here.
Do that. I was laughing so hard because I know like in Europe it's totally different, you know? It wasn't. Oh my God. He's like, oh, really? I was like, yes, really? No, they'll kick you out. Like, stop right now. Anyways, so yeah, anything you need, I'll go to the parks with you. Or now that it is, now because of what Genie Plus is, I will do, and I have Jacque actually do this sometimes as well, just your booking. So like I have that French Canadian family I mentioned, their first day, they're going to Animal Kingdom. Their first day, they're going to Animal Kingdom. So we're just doing booking for them that day, just Genie Plus. And then the other 2 days, I'll physically be in the park with them. So that's another service too. Or if you just want itinerary planning, you just want some strategy, you don't necessarily want me to be like contacting you all day or physically with you. I have a girl coming in December. It's her honeymoon. Like me hanging out with them on her honeymoon, that's kind of weird.
That is, you're like, hey, third wheel in it.
What's up, guys? Like, yeah. So what'd you put on Spaceship Earth? Are you going underwater? Are you going to be in the air? Like, yeah. So not doing that. So, and then she didn't necessarily want to do the booking either, but so I'm just going to do itinerary planning for her. Just the day, like each night I'll go over a strategy. Like, this is the ride you want to book first. This is what you want to do in this order. Try to do it. And then maybe they are looking for a third. So, you know, like, so I'll do that for them. So that was my husband, of course. He joined the other room. So, yeah, so those are the main things that I do for people at this time. And also soon they can have Jonathan as well, tour guide Ken, at their service.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
He can do all those things for him, and he can also speak in French for them too. So that's like an extra bonus. Yeah.
He can teach Kirk a few phrases because Kirk butchers it every time.
He tried to speak French?
Well, yeah, because he was visiting in Epcot. You know, he was in Epcot and trying to say all the words, and they didn't come out. It was hilarious. I mean, it was good entertainment. It was not French.
I guess like Jonathan and his brother used to like have Americans read French words, like just to like try to guess what they would be. Not necessarily to make fun of the Americans, but because French is so ridiculous with some of the spellings. Like, so they used to be like, try to say this word. And yeah. Wow. So, and I try. I've been hearing it for like 6 years, and because he and my mother-in-law speak it all the time. And I'm always like,
you're like, good. I know. That's so funny. I know
I live
we
in
went.
Florida. I took Spanish.
I know we went to Paris, obviously, when we lived in Ireland, and I was an exchange student in France, but I've like retained like nothing. I know how to pronounce stuff, but I'm like, I just can't speak it because I never practiced. So I always feel bummed. I should have practiced. Should have kept on it.
You were an exchange student in France? Oh, you just
Yeah.
got his attention.
What? So I actually came here to make a TikTok announcement.
She was an exchange student in France.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where did you stay there?
It was outside of Lyon.
Where were you?
I'm trying to remember the name of the town. It was a very small town, and we lived
my
over
daughter here.
like a chocolate maker, which was really great. So chocolatier, and it was really
Oh, I know that one.
amazing. So I'm trying to remember the name of the town. I have to think about it because I don't remember. It was like I was
That's
16,
all right.
so it's like it was a million years ago. So, but it was outside of Lyon, and it was
That's
great.
awesome.
It was amazing. Yeah. So, but I don't remember.
Well, I
my
came
French,
here on
just that.
TikTok to make an announcement that I actually don't speak French, and I've been faking it for 6 years. That Barbie and I have been together. So I'm sorry. It's been a lie this entire time. If you ever wonder why
man.
French people look at me weird, it's because I'm just speaking a bunch of gibberish, baby. I'm sorry.
French people look at you weird because you're so tall.
That's true. I'm
True
very tall in
confession
French.
time on Mom Street, USA. I love it. It's so great.
Oh, hi, Lisa. Have you been here? Did you just get here?
Great.
Oh, hi, Lisa. Have you been here? Did you just get here?
Bonjour. I am done with TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. I'm with my wife right now.
I didn't go to school in France. I was just like, it was like a summer program. Someone's asking me what school did I go to. So I just stayed with a family.
Did you,
it was like a host family.
Wow.
So you were full immersion when you were there?
Yeah. It was rough. I mean, it was like, I know I was really homesick for part of it. And so it was tough, but I learned a lot. So, what school was the program through? It was like it's called Summer Stays. It was like an international, like independent one. Cause I was a public school. Someone's asking me.
Being around French people in general is very stressful. So yeah.
Well, I remember
they complain a lot.
Yeah, when I was in Paris with my husband, and we went to order a dessert from the pastry case, and we were trying. He speaks a little bit of French too, and we were trying to pronounce it right, and it was like they schooled us good. They're like répétez. They're like le jus, and we're like okay, and they like almost yelled it at us, and we're like okay, can we just buy it and go?
What is that?
For what?
I don't know.
It was like,
did you understand what she said?
Le jus. It was like a little pastry. It was like, and I don't speak it. I don't speak well. I'll say that. But like, it was like a little pastry that kind of looks like it's supposed to look like a nun. It's like multiple layers, but it was really good.
Oh, religieuse.
Yeah. See, I still can't say it right. They would yell at me if I went back. I'm not good at it.
You did say it pretty well. It's the R's. The R's are shitty. Religieuse. Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, I'm gonna
Whatever.
go back next year. Next September, I'm doing like a cruise in the northern European cruise. So we're gonna go, and we're also gonna tack on Paris to it. So we get to go, which is because we homeschool our kids, and I wanted to like take them on to see the world. I want them to know it's bigger than just Oregon. We got to go see things.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I really want to do that with our kids too, but yeah.
Yeah.
What's this?
Je ne parle pas le français.
They don't speak French.
Lisa, who's in Canada, is on here Frenching.
Frenching.
But
Je n'ai pas parlé français. Sorry.
oui.
Tu n'as pas parlé français? Je comprends pas. All right, Live at 5's out of here one more time. Bye. I got to go to bed. I got to wake up and do a tour in the morning.
Have fun. Thanks for joining us. I think we better wrap this up too, because I know we're starting to get a little bit late here. But Tour Guide Barbie, everybody, please give her a follow if you aren't already. She has amazing, helpful tips and content. And a very fun husband. So,
so what you don't know is that the room I'm in right now, there's a minimum of 10 wigs in here. So that was one of my wig heads because it is my workspace. And yeah, so what I would like to say though, okay, for the people, pretty much everyone on my side already knows this, but I do have another TikTok. It's fake_Gwen.
She's trying to be professional. Come on now.
So I have fake_Gwen, and that's where I put like a lot of my performance stuff because I hadn't really planned to talk about the tribute band and all that stuff on the TikTok, but then I would wear red lipstick or something, and someone would be like, "Oh my God, you look like Gwen Stefani," and I'm like, "Well, actually." So then people wanted to know about that. So then the two started to merge, but then people would come to learn about Genie Plus, and then I'd be dressed as Gwen Stefani, and then they'd be like, "I'm very confused." So I started posting there again. I'm trying so hard to get to 1,000 just so that when I do need to go live from there, I don't have to do it from this account because it's weird. And so if you want to, go follow that one too. Pink Alien. He will turn to a pink alien someday. So yeah.
Right. You hear the challenge, Pocket Fam. All of our Pocket Fam friends. I know there's enough of us to get her to 1,000. So please, everyone, go follow that secondary account for her just to help her out, especially because she's so wonderful at giving us all these lovely tips. So please go do that. Go follow.
I appreciate that a lot. I feel everyone over here already follows you, I'm sure. Unless, I don't know, Travis and Lisa, do you know about Kate and all her awesome Disney stuff she does? It's fake_Gwen. So fake line Gwen, but not the hyphen, the underscore. All right, well, Lisa, someone type that in, or Travis. You're welcome. Yeah.
Maggie says your second account has great content. So she's saying it's great.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks, Christina. Yeah, I feel like this, I try to keep this more like, Disney happy, and I post other, it's definitely different over there. Kind of. I'm always me. I don't know.
Thanks, Maggie. Well, that's great. So, okay. Well, and then we'll make sure to include it in the show notes of the podcast as well as some links to those accounts so that people can give you a follow. And I also want to just mention real quick before we go, we do have I'm going to flip this so you guys can still see it. I'm not wearing my Mom Street shirt tonight because I was wearing my Genie shirt, but we do have our stickers and our t-shirts available at DisneySisterOwn.com. The link is in my bio for shop. So if you would like a Mom Street USA sticker or t-shirt, that is where you can find those. So thank you, Barbi, so much for being here today with us and telling us all the things. This was actually such a fun conversation because I don't feel like you and I have really gotten to talk like hardly at all because we've been in a group. So I loved getting to know you a little bit more. I hope that we can continue to chat and I can see you. I'll probably be back in Disney World in January. So hopefully
awesome.
Get to meet up when you're there. I would, because obviously you'll be there, but when I'm there,
be here.
You'll be there. Yes. So
I feel like any other time I've seen you in person, there's always Kirk there live streaming.
I know.
So like everything's like broadcast and he's talking and doing his thing. And I'm like, well, it's nice to meet you. You live in Oregon. That's cool.
This is all we can say. I know.
Yeah.
I know. My husband said that too when we were hanging out with Kirk. He's just like, I just can't have a conversation because the whole world will hear it. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the downside of that, but we love live streaming. We love all our live streaming friends and we really appreciate all of you guys that joined in the conversation today and asked your questions and are here. We love you guys and are so appreciative of all of you. And we're also here, and TourGuideBarbi, she is also in the Discord, our Pocket Fam Discord. So if you have more questions about Genie Plus, there's a Genie Plus channel, but there's also in our Mom Street channel, just, at her. So she knows that you have a question.
Also, no, I'm horrible at Discord because there are just so many notifications. So if you put something there, like, at me several times.
Yeah.
So
if she doesn't respond, I will make sure she knows that she has it. So we will make sure it happens. Yeah, because both me and Jackie are on it a lot. So Jackie more than me, but we'll make sure that you know if there's something that we don't have an answer to. So anyway, I think that's it for Mom Street USA and our special Genie Plus episode with tour guide Barbi. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh,
Don't
thank you.
forget to.
I'm definitely ordering a sticker because I just got a new car last week, and
Oh,
it's
yay!
so bare, so I need it. I love the iridescent. Like it would look so good on her. So because her name's Glimmer, like
Oh
from
my
She-Ra.
gosh, I love
So
that. It's so great. Congrats on the new car. That's fabulous.
thanks. Yeah, it was time.
Oh, well, thank you again for being here, and thanks
Thank
everyone for joining in. We appreciate you guys and hope that you have a wonderful evening. And Barbi, have a great weekend and all the stuff.
Thanks, you too. Thank you all.
Thank you. We'll see you later. Bye.
Yes. Bye.